Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Brittney Sherell here with me today. How you doing, Brittney?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to have you here today. And everybody who's tuned in tonight, I want to say hello. I appreciate you, and I thank you. We've already got a comment in the building. Let's see who it is. Yvette says, can't wait to see and hear Brittney. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? It's people like Yvette that really make our episodes special because tonight is your night. Your story is valuable. We need your story. We need your perspective in order to have a clear idea of what it means to go through foster care, to go through adversities and overcome. We need people in the building tonight. Yolanda Riley says hello. And if you're on Roku TV, Apple TV, Android TV, Facebook, YouTube, Amazon Fire, we appreciate you tonight. If you're on Facebook and YouTube, make a comment. We'll put it on the screen. If you have a question, ask it. We'll take care of it. Pump up the chat with reactions, the heart emoji, the thumbs up emoji, all types of emojis. Blowing up with the chat with the emojis tonight. That's what we're doing. Hey, Brittney, where you from?
I am from Flint, Michigan, by way of Port Huron, Michigan.
Wow. Okay. Were you born in Port Huron, Michigan?
I was actually born in Flint.
Okay. How long did you live in Flint before you moved somewhere else?
From what I can remember, up until about 10, and then relocated to Port Huron, Michigan.
Okay. Yeah, I can tell you from Michigan because of the way you said 10. You said 10. Yeah. That's a real Michigan thing right there. Yeah. Definitely from Michigan. Okay. So you lived there till you were about 10 years old.
Yes.
What was it like for you growing up in Flint, Michigan? Can you paint that picture for us? What did it feel like? What did it look like? What did it sound like?
Oh man. Let's see. I really don't remember too much about Flint. Probably I'll say maybe 7 when my grandmother was still alive.
Okay.
Those were the good memories, spending time with her, going shopping with her. Let's see. Being told you can't go in the living room and the dining room unless it was a holiday.
Wow.
Not being allowed to go in the backyard and the front yard because that's where the garden and the flower beds and all that was.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I've known a house like this. What was there plastic? Was there plastic covering on the furniture anywhere?
Yep, and on the floor.
Okay, got you. Did you guys have those plastic runners that if you turn them upside down, it's like you walking on baseball cleats?
Yes.
All right, gotcha. I know what the house looks like. Ladies and gentlemen, put a 1 in the house. If you know the type of house that Brittney's talking about. You know the house where you can't go in the living room and the dining room because you got plastic on the furniture, you got runners on the floor, can't go out back because you growing tomatoes and tulips. Did you have siblings?
I did. I'm actually an identical twin.
Okay.
I have 2 other sisters and I have an older brother.
Okay. What was it like growing up with multiple siblings? What was your experience like?
I really don't remember. Well, I didn't grow up with my brother. So it was always my sisters and I. And I used to always tell people that I was the oldest twin and my twin used to get so mad. But it was fun because, we had a lot to do. We could play house, play freeze tag. I know y'all remember freeze tag.
That's
climbing
right.
in the trees. Remember the old school Bop It?
Yep.
Before they upgraded it. Going to Cedar Point to see the Bernstein Bears. So it was a lot of fun growing up with my sisters.
You mentioned that at this time of your life, you're living in Flint, Michigan. What sorts of things were going on in the community? What did your neighborhood look like? What type of sounds? What type of sounds did you hear at that time in Flint, Michigan?
So we lived with my grandmother for a while. So the neighborhood was lit, if I can say that. We had We had a neighbor that lived down the street where we remember the little cinnamon candy, the butterscotch candy, the strawberry candy, and the peppermints. His name was Mr. Dennis. He used to give those out. Then we had a neighbor named Miss Louie that if you had a loose tooth, she would tie a string around the tooth, close the door, pull it out, and then reward us with Superman ice cream. Couldn't get no better than that.
Wow.
And
That's right.
then you had the neighbor across the street. We used to play over there. You know, the neighborhood, it was safe. Everybody knew each other. You know, we could walk to school. We knew the crossing guard. You know, she used to give us Christmas gifts. You know, but
Wow.
it was just a happy time.
I'm feeling the love in Flint, Michigan, where you were living at this point in time. You know, you had a candy man. I don't know if that is a Midwest thing or if people around the country have ever had a candy man. I know for sure when I lived in Cleveland, Ohio, we had a candy man in at least 2 out of 3 communities that I lived in. There was a candy man. Somebody that come down the street passing out candy, you know. And we had another guy. He would always bring apples and oranges. We had a fruit guy, and we had a candy guy. And this was just because they loved the children, you know.
Yeah.
And so, gosh, it brings back memories. So now you guys had an actual living tooth fairy on your street too.
Yes, the sweetest lady. And I'm gonna tell you something. If you did not have Superman ice cream at a birthday party, like I didn't want to go. Because that was
Right.
just the go-to ice cream.
And what was elementary school like for you?
Elementary school. I remember I went to it was a school called King Elementary. That school is where my twin and I was in the same grade, kindergarten. They didn't know we was twins until one of us said something. So they ended up splitting us up. So she went across the hall and met her best friend. And I'm like, well, it's 2 of us, so she gotta be my best friend too. So um we were there from kindergarten, I think maybe to 2nd grade, and then we started bouncing around.
Okay. Now, when you say after second grade you started bouncing around, what do you mean by that?
From from what I remember, we went to 3 different elementary schools in Flint. We did bounce around to some other cities in Michigan. I don't remember like the order. I do remember getting to Port Huron and then a storm coming and just knocking, just dislocating everything.
Well, talk to me about anything that you can remember during those transitions. Like, was it tough for you transitioning 3 times during elementary school?
It was because that's when, you start to learn everything for as writing in cursive, math, your numbers, just like nouns, just everything
That's
is
right.
vital, to know at that age. And we started moving around, so it was difficult. We went to a couple of different schools in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Battle Creek, Michigan, and then Port Huron. We did 2 schools there. And actually, once we got to Port Huron is when things really took a turn for the worse.
What was your relationship like with your mother and father?
With my mom, it was okay. I don't think we really knew what was going on when we were younger. Obviously, there were drugs that was going on in the home, you know, but it didn't get bad. Well, I remember nights when my mom would, I remember one night in particular, we were staying with my cousin. My mom had got out of jail. She came and got us in the middle of the night. I remember sleeping in empty houses and putting our food outside in the snow so it would stay cold, and using my cousin's microwave for hours at a time. And they had no idea what was going on in the house. I
Wow.
think all we had was maybe some beds. And I remember having a radio. My twin and I always listened to music.
How
Um,
often how often did you all turn that radio off?
That's a good question. Did we turn it on?
Yeah, like never turn the radio off.
You know what? I don't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you, we love music to this day, from the oldies all the way up to this new stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Brittney Sherell today, and she is telling a very American story. There are adults today who were children being raised by the radio because your parents were either doing drugs, drinking, or having a party next door or downstairs, and you were in your own world with the radio. There may have been times where the radio played all night, so no one else is talking to you except for the music artist of the time, whether it be rock and roll, blues, sometimes gospel, R&B, soul music. These are the people who are having conversations with you about life. And so when we grow up, and sometimes when we talk about people's love of celebrities, it runs deep for somebody like Brittney, or even for somebody like me, who spent hours and days and months listening to a radio when no one else is providing a message for you. Those artists coming through that radio are providing a constant message to you, sometimes of happiness, sometimes of love, sometimes of turbulence, but the conversation is coming from the radio. And that's one of the reasons why some of us love music so much, why we love public figures so much. A public figure is influencing people in ways the world never knows, unless by chance you end up coming here on America's Next Motivator and letting us know you were listening to the radio around the clock. Yvette says, wow, so grateful for your ministry. Thanks for sharing. I'm grateful for your ministry as well. And so you said that your mother was doing drugs, and then when you guys moved, then it took a turn for the worse. So explain what happened.
So I'll never forget, we were all in the car, my sisters and I, and my mom, she was like, we're going to Port Huron. And we was like, Port who? We had never heard of Port Huron. So it felt like the longest ride of my life from Flint to Port Huron.
Right.
We stayed in a shelter. We found a church. We started going to the church, and then from the church we found an apartment, and the apartments was on the water, on the river. So it was nice. And then we stayed there for a little bit. And then we moved to the projects. At the time, for us, going to Port Huron and, oh, these are projects. We was like, we ain't never seen no projects like these. They were nice.
You thought that this was a nice high-rise building, but it was the projects?
That's what they call it.
Right.
In Port Huron, in the South Park area. But it didn't, if you ever been to Flint and you see some projects, and
Right.
then you go to Port Huron and see their projects, it's like, these are just regular apartments. These is not no projects.
Right.
That's just what we were thinking. But we moved there. We went to a new school. It was Cleveland Elementary at the time, which I just couldn't stand. Trying to adapt to a new environment, trying to make new friends. That was hard. The kids there had more than what we had.
Wow.
I remember my twin coming home one day, looked in the cabinets, and there was no food. And my mom decided she wanted to do something about it. So they started stealing. My sisters and my mom, they started stealing from Kmart at the time, to get things that we needed. And I'll fast forward to 5th grade graduation. You have to dress up when it comes to graduation. And at the time, everybody knew that our family stole. So I remember my mom teaching us how to steal. Now, back then, you could go in the store, they didn't have the tags on the clothes. You know what I'm talking about.
The detector.
Yeah, they didn't have the detectors on the clothes then. So, you take about 5, 6 outfits in a dressing room with you, whichever outfit you like, you put it on, put your clothes back on, and you walk out, right? So I was just nervous, just I was a wreck. And I was like, well, if I gotta steal, I'm gonna go for it. So I'll never forget, my twin and I came out with purses, shades, whatever you could think of.
Hold on. You knew that you had graduation coming up, so you and your sister, you went out and got these items on your own with nobody else.
No, my mom was with us.
Okay.
She taught us how to do it.
Gotcha.
But you can find, so at the time, like, I was faithfully on the church bus going to Bible study, children's church, whatever it was, you could find me there. But that particular day, I needed an outfit, so when we got the outfit, you could hear people saying, "Oh, twin, where y'all get that from? Y'all stole it?" And at the time, we was proud that we had stole our
Right.
outfits.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
was like, it wasn't nothing to it. But if I'm gonna steal this one outfit, I'm gonna go the extra mile. And I'm gonna get, some other stuff. And that's what I remember doing. That's what we did.
What did you ever learn about your mother's story? What was she disenfranchised by her family? Was she out there by herself? Why was your mother in such a space in her life?
So I didn't find this out until I was deep into the foster care system. Found out that my mom was adopted at birth from the hospital in Detroit. So now it's making sense. A lot of stuff is repeating itself.
That's right.
Why she did some of the things that she did. Maybe she was lost. She was confused. She was
right.
stuck. I'm a part of this family. And I'm not getting any answers.
Right.
No one would tell her anything about where she came from.
That's right.
So it makes sense now. She was always told that her siblings died at birth. She found out at 13 she was adopted. And from there, things just went downhill.
So this moment right here is where you relate to so many thousands of people across America. And Bianca Maya Griffin is here. She says, she loves you, and she's put a lot of comments in the building, and for some reason they only just now popped up. So hi, Bianca Maya, we see you and we appreciate you being here tonight as well. This your sister?
Yeah, it's my twin.
Yeah. You're speaking on behalf of not just yourself but your siblings as well tonight. But we have young people who are the subject of parents whose lives was not easy. And it's sometimes easy for us to tell our stories and how our mother had us out here living in an abandoned place, or living out of the microwave, or living out of this place or this place. But we don't always stop to think, well, why was our mom like this? What caused her, to live this way? And how powerful is it for you to share with us tonight that your mother was adopted from birth? She was displaced from birth, never told about the true nature and origin of her actual existence, and then to find out at 13. Now at 13, what are you going into? You're in middle school, you're almost ready to go to high school, to find out that you actually know nothing about your identity.
And
so your mother had an early life crisis. And so when you come into consciousness, you're looking at somebody who's been through all types of things you don't even know about. That's right. Bianca Maya says generational curses. Exactly. Yolanda Riley says you have to know their story. Absolutely. How many children are out there subject to parents? You go into foster care. You end up getting adopted yourself. And it's a generational pattern. Your mother was displaced. And so that's the real story. We are subjects of people who have been disenfranchised in the first place.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are second, third, fourth, or even 5 generations of disenfranchisement. And so Okay, now I understand a little bit more as to why your mother spent time in jail, or why she's doing some of these things, because she doesn't have any support. She looks around, she don't have any family.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now when you got into middle school, what was it like for you? And what did it look like? Obviously, things are changing. What did middle school look like? And when did you go to foster care?
Well, okay, so it was the summer of August 2003, August 23rd to be exact. And I want to
August
say that's when
23rd.
the Cheetah Girls came out. Um, I don't know, dates are important, but we were excited at the time. Central Middle School was the hypest school at the time in Port Huron. Everybody went to Central Middle School. Bianca and I was excited. We're going to sixth grade. We about to go to Central. And one day they go to Kmart. And they didn't come right back. So I knew something was wrong. Because they usually, Cedric, they would go to Kmart, they come right back, right? So I started to get worried. I started to panic. And I look, it was a swarm of police cars, sheriff cars. It was like a crime scene, if I could describe it that way. It was so many police officers. And I was at a friend's house, I'll never forget. And Bianca came up to me and she said, they about to take us. And I was like, who? They're not about to take me. I didn't do nothing. That's what I was thinking. So I took, it was myself and my baby sister, and we ran. And I just remember screaming like somebody was trying to kill me. And I called one of the church members at the time to let her know what was going on. She came and got us, drove back to the scene, and my mom flagged the car down, and we were in the back of the van. And my mom was just crying like, I'm sorry, but y'all gotta go. And that was the day we went into foster care. I remember getting in the police car with CPS at the time, and I remember reporting a rape. And that was the end of that. And we entered foster care August 23rd, 2003, and that's it.
I don't know if anybody else could feel this moment right here, but I'd like for you to take it in. You're a young lady. Everybody's young. Your mother is out here, and that last trip to Kmart, you felt something going wrong. Lo and behold, this was the last day of your entire family living the way that you all were living.
Yep.
This was the last day of you all in survival mode in the streets, stealing to eat, stealing to live, stealing to save face, and being conscious while doing it. August 23rd, the last day. The Cheetah Girls were out. Maybe you were reading their books. Maybe you were impressed by their collection. It's a fun time. You thinking, okay, I'm growing up. Things are going. Maybe not going the best, but you never know when it's going to be. You never know when it's going to be your last day with your mother, with your parents, with your family. You never know when it's the last day that your life will ever be the same.
Never
So,
know.
so your mother's crying. You guys go into foster care. What happened that night? Did you all get separated, or did you stay together?
That night, we were all at the same foster home. We was out in the country in Michigan. Can you believe Michigan got a country? At the time, it was foreign. Our first foster, so let me back. The four of us was in the same home. There wasn't enough room, so we got split up. So of course they kept my twin and I together. And then the other two went back to Port Huron. So Bianca and I, we were outside of Port Huron. I think it was Jetto, Michigan. And we ended up going to Yale Junior High. Culture shock. Our first foster family was all white. So now you got to keep in mind, you got these little black girls from Flint, Michigan, now living with a Caucasian family. So that was a big culture shock for us. And then we get to a school where I think literally 6 black people in the school. And that was including my twin and I.
Wow. And at the same time that these things are happening, you all aren't like little shallow and naive young ladies. Y'all are intelligent, aware of the world around you, and you probably feel like city girls, you know, even though Flint and Michigan itself, you know, I'm from Ohio, everybody, and that's why I got to throw a little bit of shade about Michigan here and there. I'm actually from Ohio. The cat's out the bag, you know. So yeah, Michigan is the country, but you felt like, you know, you really were a city girl. You're aware of your environment, your surroundings, and so you know that you're in a different culture when you're at this school and when you're in this family. So now, what was it like for you being, you know, one of 6 or 7 black children in the school? You're in a white family. Like, how long did you stay there?
You know what? It was kind of cool because I remember the foster mom was registering us for school, and they asked if we wanted the same classes. Yes, we want the same classes.
That's right.
So my twin and I, we had every class together, and great memory, Cedric. It was Spirit Week, and I don't know if my twin remember this or not, but Crazy Hair Day came, and we didn't know nothing about it. So we took everything in the house from hairspray, gel, everything to make our hair crazy. We went to school the next day, and they were so amazed at our hair. Up like that, you know. So
Right.
I thought that was pretty cool. We were like the highlight, you know, of the school that day. There was a couple incidences where there were some racism going on. That was my first time experiencing that, being in that environment, you know, so it was
Mhm.
rough.
Would you say that your experience in this new school, in this new home, was a turning point for you? Did things begin to transpire in your mind about your future and how you were going to need to take control of your life?
Not at the time, because I knew that foster care was temporary. So we were still temporary wards of the state. So that never crossed my mind until about the second or third time. We were what do they call it when they we were reunited with our mom. She was in rehab. We went to live there in rehab with her. You know, you have to do your classes for 6 months to prove that you can handle it. We were going to Chippewa Middle School. Hated that school. Remember, I told you it was Central Middle School that was the best school.
Right.
So Chippewa was across the street from Central. So
Hmm.
we ended up at Chippewa. And I remember coming out of gym class, the gym was separate from the school. And I got a note saying to call home ASAP. Call on the phone. My mom's like, hey, they already got your sisters. I'm on my way. Stay there. My mom got to the school the same time as CPS. We were being removed from the home. My mom had dropped dirty in rehab. So it was devastating. It was embarrassing. One, being removed from school. And my twin and I ended up back at that foster home in the country.
Hmm.
This time, so I think that was maybe 6th or 7th grade again. So this time we're in separate classes and behaviors start to come out. So I remember my twin and I meeting in the bathroom. We both had on the same pair of jeans, just different shirts. So we met in the bathroom, swapped shirts. I think I was taking a test, she was watching a movie. And so we did the swap.
Hmm.
We get back to the foster home. I believe that's when I started having tantrums, just spazzing out. You know, by this time I'm mad. I'm just angry. I'm frustrated. You know, I'm feeling this pain now. Why am I back here in this situation?
Right.
Then I got to be too much. So my foster mom at the time didn't want to keep my twin and then have me removed. So we were actually getting ready to be moved further out into the country at that time. And then a call came through from my foster mom who saw my bag back. She taught dance at the church. So if you're familiar with the dance ministry at church, so
Yeah.
I was doing that. Mind you, I was at church when, when they were stealing. And she heard about my sisters and I going into foster care and got her license to get us.
Wow.
So just before they got ready to move us, they got the call. The four of us moved in with that foster mom.
Yvette made a comment. She says, when children don't have words, behavior tells the story through pain. When you talked about how your mother is almost in a state of panic and she's making a call letting you know they already got your sister, try not to let them get you. It sounds like y'all are being captured. Now you're becoming a young woman, and here you are out of nowhere, the same way you got placed in foster care, out of nowhere. Now you're getting captured, it feels like, out of nowhere. And your mother is saying, they coming to get you, almost like you can hear the regret in her voice. Like, I don't know why this is playing like a movie in my mind, the way that you're telling the story. Drop a 1 in the chat if the way that she's telling her story sounds like a movie to you. This sounds like something out of a movie to me. Something out of a movie. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Brittney Sherell. Her story is a very American story. We have 444,000 youth in the foster care system today. Many of their experiences are similar to Brittney's. All of them are not able to share their story, unfortunately. And I'm so happy that we get to hear her story from her perspective. You guys sit tight, because we'll be back with more from Brittney Sherell right after this brief message. America's Next Motivator, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, and sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network. And we're back. Brittney, how you feeling out there?
I'm feeling good. I'm hot. Right. I'm sweating.
We got a couple ones in the building. People are identifying with your story tonight, and it's definitely resonating in high places. Now, this woman from the church, she remembered you. She connected with you and your sisters, and she was able to get custody of y'all. Talk about that.
Oh, man, it was like the happiest day of our lives. We were getting ready to go. The four of us was about to be together. But was I really excited about being with all of my siblings?
Right.
That's kind of we moved in. We were all in an apartment, cramped up, but we had to move because we had to get a bigger space. So we moved into a house. And I guess something in me was just like, I don't think I want all of my siblings here. Mind you, I had reported a rape the day that they took us away.
Right.
You didn't hear anything else about it. Go to the doctor. There's proof that, a rape occurred. I felt like at the time I needed somebody to just focus on what I had going on, because I felt like I was the only one that experienced being raped, just all this pain. And I don't remember how long I was at this foster home, but the tantrums followed me there. The behavior followed there. And I remember my sister, we were all in the same room together. And I remember her having a belt around her neck trying to pull it. And, I went and told, I'm doing everything I can, everything I see, I'm going to try and get my sister out. And I ended up being the one to be removed from the home because it was just too much, for my foster mom at the time to take care of me. So I think I was there long enough to go to do 8th grade.
Okay.
8th grade was rough. I remember I had IEP, so I had, different classes for my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember being removed. I went to this place called the Harbor House. It's an emergency placement for runaway teens or teens that's having trouble in their foster home. Okay. Then I got word that I couldn't go back to my foster home, and I was sent to another foster home. I was with another Caucasian lady, and I was involved. It's this organization called Sons at the time. I was heavily involved in that. I remember my mentor, Pearl, who's on now. She would come and get me, from that foster home, and so I could participate. One particular day, I got in after 9, and the foster mom didn't like that, and I didn't like what she said to me. So of course, Cedric, I'm already angry. I'm mad. I have all these things going on. So if you say one wrong thing to me, it's just not going to be good. So right. I remember going to school one day, coming home, and all my stuff was packed.
Wow.
And not in suitcases. They were all trash bags. And I remember getting a call saying that I was getting ready to go to this place called the Children's Home of Detroit.
Hold on. Mm-hmm. How did it feel when you saw all of your stuff in those black trash bags, those garbage bags? You're already upset because you're getting the news of what's going on and stuff like that. To see your things in trash bags, did that make you more upset? Did it affect your perspective at all? What did you think when you saw your stuff in trash bags?
It did. You already kind of feel like trash.
Whoa, wow.
For me, I already feel like, this trash. Something, being thrown out.
I just find that to be extremely powerful, that you're living somewhere, but now you got to get thrown out. You living somewhere else, now you got to get thrown out. And your stuff is placed in a trash bag. So maybe you look up and you say, maybe I'm trash. I'm speaking from a position of identification with you tonight.
Yeah.
You're moving from one place to another. Me and my siblings moved from one place to another. We spent years of our lives in foster care as well. That's a powerful, powerful metaphor when you say, I felt like I was trash. I'm being thrown out. Who's to say that we aren't making young people in the foster care system feel like trash?
Yeah.
Because they're being constantly moved around, or maybe they feel like they're being constantly thrown out.
Or tossed. Can we say
or tossed? How powerful is this?
Tossed out.
How powerful is this?
Oh man.
You know what? There is a certain chemistry that exists in the nuclear family, in the family in the first place. When your mother had you all, regardless of it being dysfunctional or whatever might have been going on, you all had a collective chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
When you get taken away from your mother, it affects your chemistry. When you get separated from your brothers and sisters, it affects your chemistry again.
Absolutely.
When you're moving from one place to the next, it's affecting your chemistry. And it seems like the fact is, all along the way, people don't know how to work with your chemistry. They look at you, they don't know who you are. They think they know what you look like, but they don't really know what you look like. They don't know you. They don't know your chemistry. And so
they go off of what's written about you.
that's right. That's right. That's right. The chemistry of young people in the foster care system is almost impossible to understand. We don't have the tools in foster care. We are ill-equipped. We are vastly under-resourced when it comes to understanding the chemistry of the young people that we are trying to develop, raise, and impact. We have absolutely no idea what their chemistry is. And it's almost to the point of a criminal operation when you look at how many people's lives are irreparably damaged because nobody understands their chemistry. Nobody knows how to get in there and put this piece here and put this piece there and make you whole so that you can go out here and be the best you can be. What do you say? What do you say now that you're an adult to young people who are in the foster care system today? They feel like they're being thrown out, thrown around. They feel like nobody understands them, and they are throwing temper tantrums, as people like to call it. What do you say to them tonight?
That's a good question. I wish someone would have saw the pain that I was experiencing, not just being a foster parent, but I believe I would say, find you somebody, whether it's a friend or a mentor. I've been blessed to have them mentors throughout my foster care experience, and even now, to see, the pain when I'm being silenced. And keep fighting. I would tell them definitely to keep fighting and not to give up.
That's right.
The foster care system is definitely not a race, but I would say it's how you finish and the things that you get along the way. Take advantage of it.
That's right. That's right. I appreciate all of the foster parents, the social workers, the professionals who are really doing the best they can to have a positive impact on the lives of young people in the system. What we are raising awareness about tonight is the need to put more tools in your tool belt.
Yeah.
The need to have even more meticulous hiring practices and more capable staff and people on your team to really be able to get through to young people, really be able to get through to the parents. We need more ideas. We need more ways to ensure a positive life outcome for youth in the foster care system, for the parents and the workers to have more tools. And on a show like tonight, inside of this hour, where we are saying we have to figure out a way to match and enhance the chemistry of young people in care, don't let that go over your heads. Take something like that and use it. Figure out how to get into that space and make more of a positive difference. We don't understand the chemistry of youth in the foster care system. And one of the issues is that I have with it, when you take children from their parents because their parents aren't doing something right, you are implying that you are going to do something better.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, Brittney, you actually wrote a book about your experience. Talk about your book.
So my book is called A Suitcase and a Dream.
Okay.
My true story from foster to prosper.
Wow.
And it talks about everything from my grandmother. You know, my favorite line is, it didn't matter to me that my mother was on drugs because my grandmother made up for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody else can testify, but it's something about having a grandmother and the love that you get from that grandmother. I mean, it's totally different from the love you get from your mom. I talk about my twin being adopted and not me. That was rough. We were 13 when she got adopted,
Mm-hmm.
her and another one of my sisters. Talk about going to college. College was rough. I'm fresh out the system. So I think I got it going on, Cedric. I'm sure you can
Yeah.
testify to that.
Yeah.
You 18, now the money come to you. You in a dorm. I had a car at the time. And I was just like, yeah, I'm out here on my own. But I don't think I was prepared to
Mm-hmm.
be on my own. I got to college. You know how you get the money if you maintain the grades? I think it was the Michigan Youth Opportunity Initiative,
Mm-hmm.
MYOI. And you had to maintain a certain GPA to keep getting funds to pay for school. And I don't think I was really explained that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just existing at school.
Right.
I think I maybe had one good semester, but I was there for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I had questions that I wanted answered, especially when it came to my biological mom. I wanted to know, I went searching, I went back to Flint looking,
That's right.
my trying to find my dad. And
Mm-hmm.
when kids age out of foster care, the first thing they do is try to go back to their family. Oh, it was called TIP. My
Mm-hmm.
bad.
They say when you get into these programs and they're teaching you about quote unquote success, they tell you things, and thank you for all the programs. They're amazing. They are enlightening, and they show you how you can change your life for the better. But these are some of the nuanced things that agitate someone who's been through foster care. When you say stuff like, in order to be successful, you can't go back to the places that you used to be.
Exactly.
In order to be successful, you have to move forward and never look back. Because guess what? As someone who's been through the system, you've been taken from your biological family. You've been carrying all of those experiences with you. And guess what you want to do? Now that you're grown and you got a license and you know how to catch an airplane, you got a little money in your pocket, you want to go back and do your own investigation. You want to go back and see
Absolutely.
what happened here. Like, what was that?
Yeah.
Now that I'm old enough to ask questions without fear in my heart, what was that? What happened? Oh, let me go back to this neighborhood and see
Yeah.
if what was happening then is still happening now.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so what's interesting is that even though you're college age, there is another transformation that you need to go through in your life that is no space for on a college campus. And you're not in high school no more. And there's a gap right here for young people who have been in the system where you need one more experience to help you process everything that's happened in your life now that you're an adult.
Mhm.
Because without this one more experience, and I don't know what that experience is out there, I can tell you one thing: I'm working to create one,
Yes.
but it's nothing out there for us. And you're trying to grow, but in order for you to grow, you got to figure out what happened back there in your past.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, when you go back to try to figure out what happened in your past, there's all types of devils waiting to jump on you. You
Yeah.
know, I got your mama, now here you go. I waited 20 years for you to hit
Mhm.
this block, and here you are. and now I'm attacking you. Now I'm the monkey on your back. You look up and you didn't finish college. People
Yep.
turning their backs on you.
Yep.
But it sounds like you were able to process some of that and move forward. So you wrote the book. Has anybody read the book? What do people say about your book?
Oh man. So many people have read the book. But if I could back, therapy helped me to be able to write this book. It took years of healing. If we could go back in my group home in Detroit, I told the therapist, I said, hey, I want to write a book one day. I was 13, I'll never forget. I started this book August of 2006, and I finished it at 27.
Wow.
I finished it at 27, and I published it. But therapy is key. I'm still in therapy to this day. I go to therapy once a week because I'm still healing.
Mm.
You know, I was explaining to you earlier that I got my case file. I spent 57 months in foster care. You know, so to read that file and read, you know, what the workers and foster parents had to say and some of the things that my mother couldn't do, it was a lot to take in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so having therapy and being able to process properly has really helped and is still helping. I was reading it one day and had to stop because it became overwhelming. Um, I would encourage anybody to do therapy. You know, some people have this thing about therapy, you know, if you go, you're weak. And that's not the case. You just want to heal. You want to be better. You want to be great, you know, at what you're doing.
That's
You know,
right.
and I feel like I'm on my way to being great.
You are, without a doubt. One of the things that I've come to understand about therapy as it relates to people who've been through trauma, and your story is valuable to everybody, not just people who've been in foster care. It's valuable to everyone. But therapy helps you to look at yourself. Therapy provides an objective look at yourself. Everybody is biased for some reason in a certain direction. And there's no guarantee that there are people in your life who are professionally trained to help you look at yourself. There are people out there who, if you can tell them you getting ready to jump off a bridge tonight, and they'll tell you what spot will be the best spot for you to jump off. The people you can tell, listen, I'm getting ready to do something that's not so good. People will sit back and talk to you about how to do something that's not good for yourself. But
Oh,
a therapist will help you look at things from different perspectives. They know the
yes,
words that
yes.
can get you to see things from an objective perspective. And so everybody out there, take interest in some therapy. Go out there and see what it can have in store for you. Bianca Maya Griffin says that's right. Now we are rounding third base here on the show, and I've got a few questions for you as we round third base. Anything else that you want the world to know about you before we go into these final questions? One last statement from you.
I am in the final stages of my nonprofit, A Suitcase in a Dream. I collect suitcases that focus specifically for youth that are aging out of foster care so that they'll have something to take with them on their journey into adulthood.
Wow.
And my book is available on Amazon, A Suitcase in a Dream.
Where can people, yeah, so do they just go to Amazon and type in Brittney Sherell?
Yes, or they can DM me and I can mail them a signed copy of the book.
Okay. Everybody out there, let's go out there and buy her book, y'all. Let's go out there, buy her book, read her story, and pass that value on to others. I have 3 questions for you. We've got 30 seconds left in the show. 30 seconds. My first question, what is survival to you?
Living and existing through the pain, through the trauma.
Mm-hmm. What is success to you?
Oh man. Surviving foster care.
What is greatness to you?
Greatness. What is greatness? What is greatness to me? Just being who you were meant to be.
That's right. Yolanda Riley says, you're awesome, Brittney. Yvette says, praying blessings over your body, your book, and biblical promises you can believe for yourself. Everybody get your crown emojis ready. Get your crown emojis ready. Brittney Sherell, we are letting you know that we've heard your story today. Appreciate the way that you've overcome adversity. You've written your book. You are a shining example of how we can get out on the other side today. We're giving you your respect while you're here with us. We're giving you your respect. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat because we're giving you your crown today while you're still alive to receive it. We are letting you know, letting the world know that you, Brittney Sherell, you are America's next motivator.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You got crowns coming into the building. Thanks for stopping by today, all right?
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you've got to do is stop by and pick it up.